Hey YouTube, Alan back with another packages and pickles video. God, coming ticking fast these days after quite a drought. In reality, some of these things have been there for a while and I'm getting around to them now. It's just the way things go. What will we go with? Okay, well, keeping a kind of a sort of theme of recent items, got two more Saturn games, Japanese Saturn as always, as seems to be with me. Both of them were very cheap. And I actually got them with a cable, or rather, I got them because I was getting the cable. And there was a seller online, and he had the Saturn RGB SCART cable. And if you can, RGB is the best way to go for picture. And the Saturn, you can just buy a SCART cable, an RGB SCART cable. So it's definitely an easy one to go for. If you're not in Europe, it's not as handy because you usually won't have a SCART port, but I am. So I can. I can't remember how much it was. It was say £10–12, something like that. Usually kind of what you'd see the price range. But the seller also happened to have a couple of Saturn games at the same time and would do them, you know, basically for nearly no shipping. The first up was what do they call this? The Catalyst. So you know, it's typically your track and field style game. You know, running 100 meters. Actually, have the 100 meters long jump, shot put, high jump, 400 meters, 110 meter hurdle, discus throw, pole vault, javelin, and 1500 meters. So the usual track and field style game. Apparently this is meant to be pretty decent. It's in nice condition. Fully, you know, pretty much. Well, actually, I don't know if it's got the spine card. Oh, it does have a spine card in there. All completion in nice condition. Actually, also there was bubble wrap in there and everything to keep it on. So there's a spine card for those that care. Which for me, I don't actually. I don't really get to deal with those, but I know some people collect them and some people like to see them. And then we have the Saturn guide. I've shown this up before, so I won't go through it again. Soft information, number 7. So this was €2. It's fairly playable from what I can see in English. There's Japanese text, but there's also some English voices, and you kind of get the gist. It's hammer away the buttons, see who can run the fastest, you know, usual stuff. So it was kind of a very cheap item, and I assume this is multiplayer. Now, I didn't try it out in any sort of multiplayer, and of course I can't see anything indicating it. Although now that I'm looking at this properly, I can see that there's a lot of English on the front. The origin of the decathlon can be traced back to the contests of ancient Greece, and so on and so forth. It's funny how many of these games have big blurbs of English at the front. Oh yeah, 1 to 2 players, so I'd say a multiplayer that'd be pretty good fun. Or tiring on the thumbs. Next up is a game that I've definitely taken a chance on, and I picked up because I remember reading about this company back in Sega Saturn magazine back in probably 97 or whatever. What's the saying I picked up books? 96. This was in Japan, so around that time frame. And it's one that Tony might appreciate the name. Enemy Zero, and they call it War Presents an Interactive Movie. So I don't know, does that mean it's kind of like Dragon's Lair, that type of you kind of press buttons to keep the scenes going versus, you know, one-to-one controls or what? But yeah, it looks like your early kind of Final Fantasy VII style CGI and graphics as well. Again, this was €2 or maybe slightly less. And it's a double discer, and oh, I left the bubble wrap in here. But it comes with this little card of whatever the hell this is. I cannot tell. Actually looks like it's some sort of helper guide, to be honest. It comes with the spine card, which has got ads on the back. Now to play EO with your pad. Or how, not now. Please bend these lines and stand card. It's funny they should again say that in Japanese. So yeah, it's actually compatible with both the analog controller and the normal digital controller. Then it has some bubble wrap to keep them safe, and it's actually a 4-disc game, so there's 2 discs there, and there's 2 discs there. I did not realize there was so many discs. And then it's got this kind of strange accordion style fold out manual showing off the artwork, full color though, which is nice, and your one looks quite exposed in that screenshot if it's coming out. So yeah. But anyway, I was saying, the reason why I picked this up, I wouldn't have paid more than, say, the €2 for it, That was including shipping, by the way. I remember reading about Warp back in Sega Saturn magazine, and they even at the time were acknowledging that these guys were a little bit out there and it was something a bit different, and it's hard to know if this is, I guess, a worthwhile exercise on the Saturn or not. And the Japanese Saturn has got loads and loads of video discs and strange stuff basically that never saw the light of day and never even got mentioned in Western press. But because this was by Warp, and you can see I love their logo actually, just up there, it did get mentioned, it did get at least previewed. And actually I think it has an English release now that I think of it, so there was a reason to cover it. And it's always kind of stuck somewhere as a little, oh yeah, I remember that back in my mind, which is why when I could pick it up cheap, I was buying the cables, €2, I'll give it a shot. I wasn't going to pay any more than that, but sure, I'm always, if someone says you can combine postage and save, it's always, yeah, I'll go with that. But anyway, 2 more to the Saturn collection, 2 more with English binds too. So there we go. And of course the Saturn RGB SCAR cable, definitely very nice sharp image, really really pleased with that. So moving on, we will go to, no, I'll leave, there's an item here actually from Zero, I'll leave that till last, or from Tony. I'm getting confused with Enemy Zero now. I'll go to charity shops. Very, very barren. The charity shop near me is actually closed, which is unfortunate. But there is another one that I tend to go to from time to time, and it did have a couple of items. So first of all, I have seen this just sticking in the book section, and it is the first, I think, Pokemon Annual. Gotta catch 'em all. The cover is a little sun faded around the corners, but the rest is actually in pretty decent nick. Well, it's been kind of torn out here. You can see the original price point was £7.50 Irish back in the day, so about €9, I think, maybe. I'm not too sure. So it's, as you'd expect, like it's a kid annual. You have a maze and you have blurbs about all the Pokemon, which is actually different to what's listed in the game. The text is different, and then I think they talk a bit about some of the cartoon episodes. Here comes a Squirtle squad. So I had no idea how much this was going to be, but it was a video game item, and I figured it was going to be cheap. But I was looking around the game section, the CD section, and God, I cannot believe how they've been going with this charity shop recently. Pretty much they've gotten rid of anything. These are stacks of stuff. They've gotten rid of everything, and all they've left is the bootleg CSI DVDs. I don't know what the hell they're thinking, because I mean that's just asking for trouble if you ask me. In a shop it's a fairly big one. This one's actually St. Vincent de Paul, so it's one of their biggest. To be selling so many bootleg DVDs just seems crazy. Well, maybe they're not, but certainly the artwork is definitely not the real one, because I have some of those DVDs myself and it's not the same, and you can tell from the paper quality. It's just, well, that's not right. So I was spinning around one of the racks, and it just happened to, I nearly missed it, but I caught out of the corner of my eye, oh, I think that looked like a PlayStation 1 box. Sure enough it was, and it's a game that I've been actually looking for. I've been minding it, for someone. It's Road Rash. Unfortunately it's the EA Classics re-release, but it is nice and complete. Oh, there's a receipt. So we got the manual. Value series. I think they're trying to tell me something. I'm not too sure what it is. And the disc is there in lovely condition. The box is also pretty good condition too. These PlayStation, these PAL boxes are an absolute nuisance. They're so fragile. You typically end up with a load of cracks down there. So if nothing else, I was like, okay, it's a game I don't have. I love the Road Rash games on the Mega Drive. I've always wanted to try this out. I've heard kind of mixed things. Some people say it's quite good. So yeah, definitely want this. Now normally they charge €2 for PlayStation 1 games. So I picked both of these up. I went up to the counter and said, how much for these? And she said, kind of looked at it and went, €2. So I was like, great. So as far as I can see, this was kind of free. So definitely not going to, go too wrong with free. Every so often they would do €1, but for a PlayStation 1 game, but usually when you're buying more stuff than just one. And on the receipt they actually just listed it as one item and €2. So I take it they were just like, yeah, you can take that piece of crap Pokemon. Anyway, put the receipt back in. Back in the day, I used to put receipts from when I got a game as a child. Well, if I bought it myself, I put it in the box so that I'd have kind of a history. And I don't know when that stopped, but I did get out of the habit. And I've always had a very good memory of when I got a game and why I got a game and so on. It kind of feeds into this YouTube package and pickups, the kind of show and tell aspect. But I found recently that I haven't been able to remember back as far and as well as I used to. That's natural. So I said, you know what, I should really start actually putting the receipts, if I have receipts for games, into the box, or kind of at least have a note somewhere so that if I do want to look back and say, well, where did I get this, or what's this all about, I'd have some record. So, receipt in box for future preservation. But I was very pleased to get those, actually. I'm definitely looking to give Road Rash a try. But anyway, last item, and this item is a gift. And it is a gift from all the way from down under. Tony was away on holidays in Oz. He went off for a month, the lucky sod. And he'd a whale of a time. Left me holding the light, so to speak, here, holding the can, whatever that phrase is, I've completely forgotten. But he came back and he very kindly picked up a game, and it is Deus Ex Human Revolution. I don't know if that's actually the price he paid, $19 Oz or whatever that translates to, pre-owned, whatever. Well, it's nice and complete, it's in great condition, and I do actually have, I think I have the original Deus Ex for PlayStation 2. I have something like, I'd say, Infinity Wars on the original Xbox. Now, I haven't actually played either of them yet, but I picked it up because, well, I've heard the name and I've heard that it's well reviewed and it's a good series. So, yeah, I'm very pleased to get this from him. I was very kind. I wasn't expecting him to come back from holidays with a present for me. You know, okay, he was away for a month, I guess he had a time. I always find out if you end up going away on holidays and you end up trying to search for presents for people while you're away on holidays, if you have trouble finding items, that can turn into work. So it's like, I'm away on holidays, but I'm nearly working. So that's, I don't know. I always found the concept a little strange, but very grateful. Now, we did a gameplay this, it'll be up soon. Or rather, Tony did a gameplay this. I think he wanted to play this game a lot. Certainly, he ended up, after the video, basically giving it another go and playing for quite a bit and really enjoying it. So as far as he's concerned, Deus Ex, thumbs up. As far as I'm concerned, it looked interesting. I'd have to play it to be sure, but yeah, fairly cool looking guy in the back too. I will kill you. This is the human revolution. But anyway, thank you once again to Tony for that present. And yeah, I think that about wraps it up, so to speak. I actually already spoke. So, hope you enjoyed, and we're back with another packages video maybe shortly. Yeah, probably.